Profanity Nation.
Yeah, it's the new era of man for some old school fans with a new school brand. We got money on the mic with the plan in hand. And Stat Pat to his left, they go hand in hand. And to the right, we got Simpster, he putting it down. It's the Profanity Nation, we running the town. Yeah,
It's the Profanity Nation.
Profanity Nation.
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Profanity Nation podcast, where we are most definitely the voice of the professional fan. You can see we're joined here by a guest, Mike Andrade. We're going to go ahead and introduce you in a second. First, Money Mike to my right. How you feeling?
Man, I'm good. You know, Warriors and six is all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're desperate there because Fredo's got you.
Hey, Warriors and six.
Yeah,
It's going happen.
But you're definitely more nervous than you thought.
You know what? We should have won at 5. But we'll win this.
It's now a we. I know.
I mean,
it's a we now. You said it.
Listen,
you said
it. Right now, it's we against Boston. Whoever could beat Boston.
The world against Boston. All right. As I said, we have a special guest this week. We've been waiting for this for a while. This is a longtime friend of ours, Mr. Mike Andrade. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. Thank you guys for inviting me back to the studio. I was on a couple years ago. And to see where you guys are now is just amazing. You guys have rocketed. Thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. I'm happy to see you back, man. It's been a while. You know, we hang out over at the South Bay Lakers games.
Representing South Bay Lakers.
Yeah, absolutely. South Bay all day.
Glad to see you be back in
South Bay all day. All right, guys. So, of course, you know our show. So then you know that we always start the show with a segment with a gentleman by the name of Marco Nunez, the former head athletic trainer for the Los Angeles Lakers and now private professional athletic trainer. Let's go ahead and bring him on right now, Mr. Marco Nunez. How you doing, Marco?
Doing well. How's everybody doing today?
Doing really good, my friend. Really good. What do you got for Money Mike?
Hey, so Marco, you know, it's going to be a little redundant this week because, we talked about this before, but Curry, he twisted his ankle game 3, and he came up to the podium and said, "Hey, it ain't that bad. I'm playing." And he looked very confident in saying that. But tell me, you as an athletic trainer, you know that he's going to play game 4. Is there too much that you're going to do to try to make sure? Because it was no doubt that he was going to play. But it seemed like that he knew it wasn't bad. The injury wasn't bad. And I feel like even if it was bad, he was still going to play.
No matter what. And he wasn't going to tell us that was bad. So in that situation, when this playoffs, you know, this was actually a winner. They had to win this game. Is your mentality like, okay, whatever I gotta do to get you on the floor at this point? Just go through that process. Like it's playoffs, like they're kind of depending on you to get them on the floor. Anything legal, right?
Yeah. What type of pressure? what type of pressure is on you as an athletic trainer to get somebody on the floor?
So, to be honest, I think the pressure is applied to both the sports medicine staff and the athletes, especially an athlete like Steph Curry type of thing. So the one great advantage about working with athletes, professional athletes, and more specifically athletes that understand their body and had a little bit of a history of injury, they know, hey, you know what, this is not as bad, or I can deal with this. So at this point, it's pretty much just pain tolerance and how to kind of get him out there. Now, I'm sure the sports medicine staff is trying to working around the clock with them, try to reduce swelling, any pain management, make sure he doesn't re-injure anything of that sort. I'd be very surprised if he's even practicing at this point. There's probably no need for him to practice. The point for right now is just to try to get him to play the games, try to keep his pain level as low as possible. And as soon as the game's over, we're starting already working, trying to get him ready for the next game. Game readies, ice, compression, you name it, everything, whatever they have at their disposal to try to keep that swelling down, try to keep that pain down, try to loosen that joint to get stiff or that area to get stiff and increase pain.
So during the game, because look, he balled out. He had 43 points. It didn't look like he had any issues at all. Are you checking with him through the game, or are you just waiting to see if he's going to come to you?
Well, that's the thing about it. I've talked about this before. As far as even as an athletic trainer, you kind of know you have to know your personnel. Just like as a basketball player, when you're on the court, you know your personnel. As an athletic trainer, you have to know your personnel. An athlete like Steph Curry is one of those things. Hey, you know what? I'm not even going to bother you. I'm not going to ask because I know if it's bugging you, you're going to come and ask, or you're going to come talk to me. Or if I keep bugging him about it, it may put it into his mind, and he's in this, kind of this mindset that I don't even want to bug him type of thing. Now, what I'm looking for is more of his mechanics as he's going up and down. Is he going to probably limp a little bit? Yes. But if I'm looking that he's limping way too much, or he's compensating, and now he's at a higher risk of injury, to, knock on wood, let's say it may lead to something more devastating that he may be out next year. That's what I'm kind of looking for. And obviously, at the same time, it is the finals. He needs to be out there, but I'm trying to protect him from himself at the bigger picture at the same time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, I knew he was going to play. I was just wondering about.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
Marco. There's a player in the NBA that there's a few players in the NBA that are injury prone, we'll say. Okay. Some in
Fragile.
particular, some more fragile than others, no question. However, as a professional basketball player in the NBA, if you're not currently injured, should you ever go a period of 2 months without shooting a basketball?
If you're not currently injured, 2 months of not shooting a basketball can be a lot.
Anthony Davis was filmed on cell phone camera saying that he hasn't shot a basketball since, I think, April 5th.
And he has been filmed at the club.
He's been partying. He's been hanging out. We know he's fragile, but he says he has not shot a basketball since April 5th. I'm just curious, is there any medical reason that we're not aware of that would be justifiable? Because right now the fans are just absolutely burning.
Well, medically, this probably is. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it as far as the medical aspect. I'm assuming that a medical physician or athletic trainer, or sports medicine staff, unless they prescribe to him that, hey, do not shoot a basketball for the next 2 months, and that might be something different. As far as you shooting now, from a mental aspect, I don't know whether he's completely overwhelmed. He just wants to stay away from basketball for for a period of time. I'm hoping and I'm assuming that this 2 month period is something that's already pre-planned. I'm hoping, and it's not something that he's too busy partying that he hasn't had time to shoot a basketball. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say this is something that was pre-planned this offseason for him, just to mentally get away from basketball, not shoot anything, and then hopefully come back and completely do a whole reset and be ready to go for the upcoming year. Because I know this past season was a roller coaster for him, both physically and mentally, with all the injuries and stuff like that. So I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt for right now.
All right,
All right, but off the record.
put off the record there.
Yeah.
Of course, here goes Buddy Mike.
Start the recording. Stop the recording.
Stop recording.
So Marco, we've
Yeah,
gone through this before. We have the exit interviews. There's certain things that you prescribe for a player, and to kind of do. He's able to go out on his own and have his own training staff, his personal trainer, all that type of stuff. And then you're on Facebook and you see him, partying in the club and dancing around, and does that burn? I mean, as a fan, it burns me up. Does that burn you up?
Traditionally, after the season's over, whether it's finals, whenever you're done, most players I remember we used to shut down the training room. Even the sports medicine staff, we should shut down the training room completely for 1 week, unless there was a major injury or something like that we had to kind of deal with right away. But traditionally, most athletes would take a week to 2 weeks off, where they will go reset, go vacation, do some R&R, do whatever they need to do. But then after that, they're ready to go, whether they're lifting with their own personal trainer, their own strength coaches, or they're coming to the facility, they're doing something. And traditionally, the way it works, you lift and then just go get some shots up, whether it's some free throws. It may not be anything like intensive or hard. It may be just kind of get up there and just get some shots up, and that's it.
Man, I don't mind you on the yacht. You know what I mean? I don't mind. You see players on the yacht.
They deserve that. They deserve that.
I don't mind that. But because see, I'm thinking if you over there dancing and moving around and in the club and partying.
Hey, dancing is great exercise.
Yeah, you're not, but you're putting legal substances in your body that is not healthy for athletes.
Let's go to Mike Andrade.
I'm not too concerned about it, because the great Michael Thompson from 710 ESPN Lakers announcer, he would always say during as soon as the offseason would start, he wouldn't touch a basketball. During almost the complete offseason, he would go play tennis, he would swim, weight
Okay,
train.
cool. I rock with that.
So for me, if Anthony Davis, obviously with injuries the last couple seasons, if he's in the gym, strength training, doing this cardio, if he's doing other things, I don't really mind that he's not touching a basketball because those things the priorities for him to be stronger.
Hey.
So with that, he's not going to forget to learn how to play basketball. As soon as he touches the basketball again, he's going to be a dominant force.
I do believe he shot 19% from 3 last year.
And do we have any videos of him swimming or?
Well, because we have videos of him partying.
Right.
Like what Marco said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he has been in the gym doing things to correct those.
All right, cool.
Some like you mentioned, like Michael mentioned, some activities are equivalent to basketball, meaning some footwork. I know some players have done in the past. I've done some kind of like boxing training, which is great for footwork, agility, and movement.
A hustle.
Yeah. So they'll tend to do something that's out of the, I don't say out of the ordinary, but something that gets them away from basketball. But they're still doing activity that helps with the conditioning, helps with their footwork, helps with their core. I think I remember Lamar Odom used to box in the offseason type of thing because he wanted to get away from basketball. He didn't want to touch a basketball, but he still did some footwork. He did some movement, some upper body, some core stuff like that. That was kind of one of his favorite things to do during the offseason. So for right now, I'm gonna give him
Bynum like to bowl, right?
Bynum.
This podcast is not gonna come bite Anthony in the behind in about 6 months when he's still percent, but we'll see.
Yeah, Herschel Walker did ballet. I mean, but ballet is good for like core training and
like yoga,
conditioning and yoga and things like that.
It's not great on the toes, but yeah.
All right, well that's cool, Marco.
Any other questions for Marco, Mike?
Yeah. So I've been trying to get in shape myself. I've been dealing with a sciatica nerve issue. What would you recommend as I'm trying to lose weight? I'm trying to get back in shape, but also to manage sciatica nerve.
So one of the biggest issues for the sciatica that you get sciatica is basically sciatica is an impingement of the sciatic nerve, and that's what you get. You want to definitely stretch your piriformis muscle. The piriformis muscle is the one that runs right behind it, and oftentimes when people have tightness in the piriformis muscle, that kind of compresses the nerve, and then you get a lot of impingement in that area. Second, you want to make sure you have proper hip mobility. If your hips are super tight, that's going to create a little bit in there. And then the third and finally, you want to get a nice strong core stability, meaning not just a nice six-pack, but what's called your posterior chain muscles. The muscles are in the back, the multifidus, all those muscles that kind of support your low back to kind of strengthen that area. So if you want to start with those three. And then four, if you're going to start working out, maybe try doing some low-impact exercise, either bike riding, swimming, anything like that you're not going to be pounding on that nerve or on your hip. So try to avoid running, try to avoid anything that you can be kind of bouncing up and down. At least you kind of get you started, get you moving.
Hey, I got this electric pulse machine. I got.
Oh no, he's been trying to dump this TENS machine for weeks now. He says it'll really help you. It's a miracle worker, and it's only what 399.
It was like 550.
Yeah, there you go. The price has gone up.
You put it on, you feel the pulse,
and you'll lose weight too.
Talk to me.
Yeah, wrong. Marco, please let everybody know the best way to keep in touch with what you've got going on, please.
Yeah, everybody. If you guys have any questions regarding working out, losing weight, injuries, recovery, and so feel free to DM me on my Instagram at Marco A Nunez 17, or please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Evolve Athletic Performance.
Thank you, Marco.
Feel free to come with me at 24-hour fitness.
Yes.
Which one? You tell me.
Which one exactly? There it is.
Yeah, I mean, I go to anyone's, differently. So, around the LA area.
We'll come find you, Marco.
We'll connect you guys after the show.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get you stretching. Thank you very much, Marco. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, guys. This is great, great info. I was really curious about the Anthony Davis. So really, when you saw that, you didn't think anything about it?
I mean, yes. I just think that right now, it's the time for him to be in the gym. And just, I think when August, September approaches, yes, you want to be basketball. You want to be training. You want to be shooting. You want to be playing 5-on-5. You definitely want to get your body back into rhythm playing, NBA basketball. But right now it's June, the finals are still going on. I think right now the best thing for him is just to get his body right. Get those legs, get those knees, ankles, his core, everything right. And they have to come together of what specifically he needs. I'm not concerned about him picking up a basketball. I'm concerned about his longevity.
That's a good point, Money Mike. His ability to stay on the court has been what's questioned. Not his basketball skill, but his ability to stay on the court. Does shooting a basketball in 2 months matter?
It's. I agree with him. I'm not really worried about shooting the basketball because that's more of a timing thing and that's a talent. But you got to get your body right. I mean, my big issue with him last year was he got married like a week before training camp was going to start.
Right.
Like I really don't understand what his priority is, and I really don't know if he wants to be great.
Well, that's always the question.
Yes,
right?
and as a Laker fan and just the Laker culture, everybody here that comes on the team should want to be great, or I don't want you. Like I really don't care about your talent so much.
Yeah.
Versus the desire to be great.
Heart of talent.
To be the best version of yourself.
Be
better.
What would you need to see in Anthony Davis to make you believe that he's doing that? Is there anything, or just wait and see?
Yeah, just wait and see. I mean, the proof is going to be the proof is going to be putting during the season. Yeah,
but then it's too late. Because that's like last season. Oh, no, it's just preseason. Oh, it's just off season. Oh, it's just this. Laker fans, I'm tired of going, it's just this, it's just that. Personally, I think that when you have this squad and you didn't even make it to the playoffs, there is no off season.
I think, yes, fans would probably feel a little bit better if he was posting workout videos and showing a physique. Even Frank Vogel last year, mentioned how he looked buffer and he looked more swole. What did that get into? It resulted into 60 games missed.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think right now the proof is going to be in the pudding when it comes into March, April, May, June. If he's going to be around playing,
Money Mike. The proof might be in November. I mean, he's not that.
I think there's going to be a little bit of
exactly reliable.
Obviously, throughout the NBA season, you're going to have injuries, small minor injuries here and there, where they're going to miss 1 or 2 games.
I feel it right now.
That's not a concern.
I'm gonna put something. I'm gonna put this out there. I'm just feeling it. My vibe. I'm gonna say, and I'm not putting any jinxes, but I actually don't think Anthony Davis will be ready to start the season.
You know what?
I'm gonna say that something's gonna arise.
I'm gonna tell you what my biggest issue is right now. I am here watching the NBA Finals, and the Celtics are in it. And because I am a Laker fan, it is burning me up because I cannot fathom the Celtics getting 18.
Yeah.
Right. And we
just tied them.
And I am a fan. Mm-hmm. Is there anybody on the Laker team? I'm not talking about James Worthy. I'm not talking about Magic. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about Byron Scott, AC Green, all the old school, because I know they feel how I feel, and it burns them up that the freaking Celtics are in the finals and could potentially. Is there anybody on this roster caring about the fact that Boston may, and I mean may, go up to 18? Is there anybody on the Celtics anybody on the Lakers right now that care about what could possibly happen?
No.
That's my problem right there. Well, we need to figure out how
nobody's taking it personal.
Yeah. We need to figure out how to bring that back. When you are a Laker, you're wearing that purple and gold. And
hey guys, look who's here. We got Pat here.
Oh,
let's bring him in. Mr. Stat Pat. Where you at? Are you there, Pat? Where are you at?
Yeah, Stat Pat.
Uh-oh. We lost him.
All right.
Okay, we'll get him back in a second.
But is there any Laker? Because this is what's burning me up. Like, I'm doing my best. I'm rooting for the Warriors as much as I can to try to give them as much energy as I can. Not because I want the Warriors to win. It's because I need the Celtics to lose. Is there anybody on the Celtics that care?
Well, the players don't look at it like that. They don't look at it like that. They look at it from a business standpoint. The players, everybody in the NBA, 450 players in the NBA, don't look at it from a fan base perspective. They look at it, if they're a Laker this season, they can easily be a Celtic next season because money and contracts. They're not loyal to one team. There's really I don't think there's anybody that's loyal to one team anymore. You're not going to find the Kobe's, the Dirk Nowitzki's, Tim Duncans in this league anymore. Everyone is business, operated. They're going to take what's best for them and their family, either in terms of money or a situation, playing time. Location doesn't location does matter in a sense. They want to live comfortably.
Yeah, but they'll switch teams in
see,
LA or
but
California.
exactly. LeBron was quoted saying, "I wouldn't mind go playing with Golden State."
See,
You know, so these guys, they're not
What's
looking
up,
at
Stat
it.
Pat? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right, man. Just actually last day of quarantine, so I'm good.
All right, cool, man.
Good to see you, Pat.
Yeah, what up? What up?
Hey.
Good to see
Hey,
you.
so Pat, man, you know, you probably overheard us talking, man. Basically, we were saying that there's nobody on this Lakers team right now that want the Warriors to win because they do not want the Celtics to get a championship. But look, I mean, I'm to your point, Mike, what you said. Look, when Rick Fox was a Celtic, when he came over and became a Laker, he became a Laker. We heard. And now we consider him to be a Laker, right? Not a great Laker, but we consider him to be a Laker. We just heard a couple of weeks ago, Andre Drummond. He was talking about he was talking about the culture of the Lakers. He said it's something different over there. So why don't not these existing players, hate the Celtics? Like, shouldn't they at least?
They weren't raised as.
It doesn't matter, but when you get on the Celtics, you gotta
on the Lakers.
I'm sorry. When you get on the Lakers, you got to.
Is that what you expect?
To that.
Do you expect?
I agree with Mike in the sense that if you can go to any franchise and if you just go to say the Charlotte Hornets, there's no history with that, so there's nothing tied to it. It's like if you do go to the Lakers or say to get drafted by the Celtics, your natural rival is going to be the Lakers or the Celtics. So you should already know going in that you have a healthy disrespect for the other team, but you have, but you understand what is at stake when you playing the Celtics. That's why Kobe always relished the Celtic games. He never took those games off because he knew the history. He knew what the Lakers were about and what we don't like. And so the problem right now with our fan base is because it's been infiltrated with a lot of LeBron-only fans. So that gives you where is the loyalties are kind of like split because there's the guys that don't want to see Steph Curry win because Steph Curry is tied to LeBron's legacy. So if LeBron has less championships than Steph Curry, then they don't want to see that. But we don't give a damn about that. I don't give a damn if Steph wins 6 championships.
No.
It's all about the Lakers and the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's what it should be. And look.
Here's the problem: is that most of these players are young, so they didn't grow up with the point of reference to that rivalry. Even though they've heard about it and they watched it. Secondly, all these players have played on other teams. These other teams don't have any rivals. Who are the Wizards' rival? Who are the Mavericks' rivals? They don't have rivals per se, not like the Lakers do. So they really, and we've lived it our entire life, literally since we were born. We've lived this rivalry, and these players who grew up in other states with other teams, they don't have a point of reference maybe to grasp.
Well, but
so they're losing it where before there still was the point of reference. Now there isn't. The Rick Fox still had that point of reference, but now the Malik Monks don't.
Well, even like I'm 31 years old. I'm almost maybe I'm a little bit older than some of the guys in the NBA now. But look at a guy like DeMar DeRozan, grew up a big time Laker fan, Kobe fan. He was, certainly a part of rooting for the Lakers and Celtics and, rooting for the Lakers. Yeah. But as soon as they get drafted, it becomes business oriented now. No. They're not thinking about it from a fan's perspective. They are thinking about it. Where am I going to play? Where am I going to get paid? That's the most important thing.
But this is the reason why I kind of disagree with that. Like, let's go to another sport. And Pat, let me know if you agree with me that. You go on the Cowboys, the teams you're supposed to hate, right?
Right.
You on the Eagles, the teams you're supposed to hate. You a Raider, the teams you're supposed to hate. Like, and they do that when they're on that team. Why is that culture not moved over?
Is it the fans that hold them? Stat Pat, is it the fans that are holding those players accountable to their rivals?
I mean, so to the point that we were talking about DeRozan, so if you were born in Los Angeles and you grew up a Laker fan, you automatically know who your natural rival is. So even if you did say you went to say Chicago or you playing with like San Antonio Spurs, like you know as a business. However, if you do play for the Lakers, then especially if you're from LA, you already know what time it is. You know that it literally is about hating the Celtics. Now, about the new generation, look, I mean, the new generation now is a lot of player centric, like player fans versus team fans. They don't have team allegiances. Like LeBron fans go from Cleveland to Miami to Cleveland to the Lakers, and whoever he's going to go with. So it doesn't really matter about what those fans want, because at the end of the day, like you said, Portland natural rival is LA, but Atlanta Hawks, who is their rival? Who's their rival? Who's their rival? You wouldn't even know, right? So,
do the Magic have a rival?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No, okay. They don't. They don't have a rival.
Right?
So let me ask another question. Would you want to be on a team that actually have a rival?
Yes,
like,
I would think that would get your juices going a little bit.
Right, but
more.
it's so when like you do join the Lakers, the fans are going to get hyped for the game against the Celtics. They're going to get hyped for the big games against the rivals. The fans are going to get excited for that, and maybe the players do have a personal feeling into one way or another. But at the end of the day, they're going to look at it. This is just another day on the job. This is
you can't.
Okay, so like
I mean, I don't understand how you. I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off. I really don't understand how you could do that, because when I watch a Lakers Celtic game, right, and the Lakers win, and then they go to the post game and they got James Worthy smoking a cigar and doing the Worthy clap and talking crap talk to Cedric Maxwell. Like, you see it in the post game. And this dude literally is celebrating, and that he's doing that. Like, once you guys take your shower, the commentary that here, it's I mean, one thing we always talk about how the Lakers are a family, right? Kurt Rambis is there. It's enough old school Lakers. The Ramby there. It's enough old school Lakers to be able to project the type of rivalry that you should have, or the dislike you should have for these. It's
different. It's different. Back then in the 80s, players did not like each other. If you played on the Pistons, you did not like the Celtics or the Bulls.
Why?
If you played on the Bulls, you didn't like the Pistons. Why? Because that was a natural grown rivalry. The players did not like each other back then. Today, all the players are friends.
That is a problem, and that's something that you don't like, Stat Pat, Mike. But Stat Pat, is that a problem, or is it simply player movement that essentially each player's played with each other player? Back in the day, you stayed on a team for a long time. That other player stayed on a team. Just like it gets bitter in a playoff battle over 7 games. It can get bitter in battles over 7 or 8 years when you're on the same team. That grows. Is that what's kind of missing there?
Yeah, it is. I think that is missing from the product. If you were looking at we were talking about natural rivals, but just a healthy disrespect. Like, we're not trying to get in. We just want, as fans, we want our players to mirror our sentiment. We want those guys to feel like we feel. We don't like the Portland Trailblazers. Like, we just don't. But if I see, LeBron and Dame kind of like dapping up, like, that's just what it is now. But you would think that the product, I mean, we're not trying to get into fisticuffs. I'm not trying to take it there. No. But if you lose, you shouldn't just be all chummy. If you win and you move on. You lose, you're not going to be chummy with that guy, So I don't know. I just think that that's what's missing from the sport right now. That's what made the 80s and the 90s great, if you think about it.
And that's what made 2004 great.
Yes.
That's what made that Detroit Pistons team great, and we have that now.
Yeah.
We have a new coaching staff in Darvin Ham and Rasheed Wallace. Let's just go with them right now. Of course, Phil Handy stayed on, which is awesome. But we have a coaching staff that I don't think is going to allow us to forget. Now, whether or not it's their rivalry or not, they will use whatever they have to light the fire under these guys. What do you think, Mike?
I think Darvin Ham had an amazing press conference. I mean, I think, I look, I'm hyped up. I'm ready. You know what I mean? If he does 75% of what he said in that press conference, we're going to have a successful season. If Rasheed Wallace, okay, cool. We got Rasheed Wallace. Hey, Rasheed got tests different ways, right? Rasheed got technical fouls, not because he was fighting with people. It was all passion.
Thank you.
It was passion. Rasheed had a beautiful game. I hated him because of his game, but he got technical fouls because of his passion, and the ref didn't like this passion. If this dude could go and literally be assigned to AD, be assigned to him. That's his job. Your job is to make Anthony Davis like me.
Oh, yeah.
Teach Anthony Davis some passion, not how to do the electric slide in a club. He needs to teach him some passion.
It's true.
Man, look, I mean, that's my assignment. Darvin Ham, tell Rasheed Wallace that his only responsibility on the team is to put that passion in AD. AD got the talent. I love his game, but he got to get that passion. If that happens, hey, you know what? We'll be in the finals next year.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling great. I think accountability. One thing that you saw last season with Frank Vogel is, yes, he said that he was going to hold the players accountable, but the team turned on him. There wasn't really any accountability with LeBron. LeBron, he's his own enigma in himself, so he kind of dictates what he wants to do. But with this coaching staff, I think that with Darvin Ham, I mean, just his background alone, being shot in the face, and he said in the press conference, when you go through something like that, it either makes you fearful or fearless. So this guy is obviously fearless. So he's not concerned with the pressure in LA right now. As much as it's going to be.
Yeah,
he's
he
not
called
concerned.
it a challenge.
Yeah,
this is just a challenge.
It's a challenge.
I ain't scared.
So he's not concerned with the pressure of coaching LeBron. Frank Vogel was, and other coaches, Luke Walton was.
Right.
But this guy, you can see it in him. He's taking this as a not a small challenge, but as professional challenge for him to steer this team right. And so with LeBron, an aging LeBron, with AD and all that, with the whole Russell Westbrook, saga as it continues, you're gonna see him finally put some structure back in the team. So I think it's gonna be great. Obviously, we still have holes to fill in this team, but it's a great start that we finally chose a coach that he knows what he's doing. Frank Vogel, he knew defense, he knew basketball, but also being able to get the guys to buy in. That's so important, and just being able to get LeBron's in his ear, having Rasheed Wallace, being able to, like you said, just being able to light a fire under Anthony Davis's ass. You got to be able to do those things.
What are we looking for then?
We're championship.
No. Let's just say we're in the game. But before we get there, what are we looking for 5 games in? Okay, the Lakers are down 12 in the third. Are we looking for some sort of come on, motherfucker? What are we looking for?
I'm looking for I'm looking for
We're looking for that. We're looking for fight.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking for. We're looking for fight, and because remember, pretty much for most of the year or most of last season was, you would look at the TV, and you can go and it's the game start, and then you would go and get something to drink, and then all of a sudden the Lakers down by 20 in the first quarter. They down by 20.
Yep.
And it was most of the games they were down by 20. So at the beginning of it all, we need to have fight. We need to have these guys be able to go ahead and show some kind of fight that they're not going to try to take getting blown out. Secondly, I think what we need to see is we need to see how everyone knows their assignment. It's too many times when we're looking at offense or defense where we're like, what are we doing? We don't know if we're doing good on offense. We don't know what they're running. We don't know what kind of defense they're running. So
no continuity.
We want to see some structure. We want to see some fight. The wins and losses will come. Of course, Mike's saying we need to win a championship. Of course, that goes without saying. But we need to see like progression. And I think once we see some fight, where we see it actually be like more of a grassroots, not like instant coffee kind of changes. Once we start seeing it match, like naturally go ahead and like progress, we're gonna be satisfied. I think with Seed and Ham and Handy, you got no punks allowed, man. Pretty much the coaching staff, like no punks allowed. You know what you're getting right now. You're getting, and ain't nobody getting punked. Westbrook's act is not going to punk. He's not going to punk Devin Ham.
No.
It's Darvin Ham, excuse me. He's not going to do
I
that.
get the feeling that Ham is going to take losses personally. And if you're not putting out the effort, he's going to say, hey, this is my coaching record on the line. Would he bench an all-star player? I don't know, but I think that he would be more likely to do it than Vogel was. That's for sure.
Look, he needs to not allow LeBron to leave 2 minutes before the game is over when they know they lost.
So
I think it's a bad look.
Okay,
I think he needs to say, yeah, you scored 30 points, man, but you ain't got no fouls. Can you play some defense?
Maybe he needs to come out like you would on the playground. Does he need to come out and just punk the biggest guy right out there and just the first time LeBron does something wrong, just bench his ass and just show everyone that he's willing to do it and prove the point? Stat?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you did that, the problem with that, though, is you have to be consistent with that. Because even if you did it one time, then you know what's going to happen after the game. Clutch Sports going to come call you. You're going to have to talk about why LeBron got benched. We need to go ahead. So you need to be pretty much consistent with your because really, remember, we're talking about what we said, what the saying is now, facts over feelings.
Yep.
Right.
So we're basically looking at the box score, or we're looking at the play. Like literally, LeBron, you had corner 3 defense. However, you were under the goal looking for the rebound. Your man in the corner hit the 3. I need you to get out there. If you're fighting that, then we have a problem. That's what I'm talking about. Be consistent, because your assignments are your assignments. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. Your assignment is your assignment. And the only way we're going to get better is everybody pulling at the same weight. Pulling the same way. So, yeah, if he does it one time, he cannot do it only once. It has to be more. It has to be consistent. It has to be all across the board. You got to give some to AD. Got to give some
with
to
each
Westbrook.
player.
Got to give it to everybody. But first, you start with LeBron and let people know you mean business.
Would you be open to seeing that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would definitely send shockwaves around, if you were to bench LeBron, for not playing defense. And like what Pat was saying, like consistency has to be number one. Like we saw far too many times last season, especially in the early part of the season, Frank Vogel's lineups were just all over the place. You didn't know
consistency.
Yeah, very inconsistent. Why were we starting DeAndre Jordan? Why were these guys in and out of the lineup?
Yeah, players would disappear.
Yes, exactly. The lineups have to be consistent, no matter injuries or not. The lineups have to be consistent, and there has to be a rhyme and a reason why these guys are playing.
And they have to know because, in ball games, we've talked to a lot of players, Mike. We've talked to a lot of ball players. We talked to professional. We've talked to street ball. And consistently knowing when they're getting in the game, knowing when they're going to taste that has a lot to do with their mental game preparedness. And, they prepare differently if they're starting versus coming off the bench. It's a whole different mental preparedness. So, not knowing if you're even going to play that day or you may get in at this point, that's really tough on these professional players. And I just don't think it bodes well for the end of the season.
Right. And not only the starting lineup, but like who's closing games as well.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All of it.
Yeah.
So look, like I said, man, Darvin Ham, great press conference. I need you to do what you say you're going to do. Hold everybody accountable. We need to be able to, at least at minimum, it is not a successful season unless we make it to the Western Conference Finals. With this talent on this roster,
I have to agree to that. It just is.
We don't have to win a championship. Things happen, but we at least have to be a contender, and there has to be hope.
I agree. I agree. But hope going into the next seasons as well. Right. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's move on. We do have the NBA Finals going on right now.
I'm loving it.
This has been a fun series. I got to tell you, this has really been fun. Of course, it's the Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors, and it is knotted at 2-2. And I mean, I haven't seen a finals like this in a while. I'm really enjoying it. It's going back and forth. They are starting to get a little bit heated out there a little bit.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, what are you seeing, Mike?
Man, listen. First of all,
all bets aside and so forth, just quality of the game.
All bets aside, I love how these two teams were constructed. They weren't constructed by the homies calling the homies to team up. They literally came through the draft. Both of them constructed the same way. I'm going to get Curry, then I'm going to get Klay Thompson. I'm going to get Tatum, then I'm going to get Brown. They put together a team, both sides, by the GMs, how the old school way. They're going neck and neck. They have their strengths. The Celtics are a little bigger of a team. The Warriors are, they shoot, they're smaller,
more finesse.
They're more offensive. They have to get a little bit more physical, with them. Celtics, they just like to cheat. You know what I mean? Like it's the, again, this is why every team should hate the Celtics. Like they're not
all Boston teams. What are you talking about?
Every Boston team.
Let's just throw them all in there.
Every Boston team, whether it's MLB, NFL or
the basket's
NBA,
too tall, the ball's deflated.
We just randomly. It's Boston. Everybody, listen.
Hey.
If there's no, I regress. I apologize. But I'm just saying, if you ain't got no rival, it is okay to hate Boston for what they do. I mean, they literally.
If you're a sport fan in any sport, you probably hate Boston if you're not from Boston.
Yeah, you have to hate Boston. Is it unfair for me to say that, Mike?
No. To quote Showtime, HBO, F Boston.
F Boston.
Yeah. I love what I'm seeing right now. It's the battle of attrition, So who's gonna stay healthy? Who's gonna come out on top? Man, it's been back and forth. I think for Golden State right now, it's just a matter of them being able to dig deep within. Klay Thompson, he has to find it somehow, some way for them to win the championship. Because Steph Curry, I don't know if he can pull off another 2 or 3, 30 or 40 point games.
He can. He totally can.
Step hat. Every once in a while, the NBA circles back around, and you get back to core abilities and core values that win. And that happened in 2004 with Detroit. It was just hard work and defense. Then you get these flashy teams out there like Golden State, and everyone says, I need shooters. We need to shoot as much as possible. We need to do this. And then there's a team that comes around and reminds you that good defense beats great offense every time if it's consistent. Is that what Boston's doing right now?
So Boston was okay. So Boston does have the blueprint, like you said, right? Good defense, is really good against good offense. And I was telling Mike, pretty much this reminded me a lot of the 2004, just like you said, championship. It just reminded me of that because it felt like, just like we were the flashy team coming there, and then the Detroit Pistons just had that answer for us. I thought that the Celtics were like that. However, something happened in the last game. And when you think about championship medal, when you think about you having the experience in the finals, it showed itself again in these finals because they knew what was at stake. Everyone in that building knew what was at stake. If Boston went up 3-1, the series is essentially over. Golden State knew that we have to win this game. So if I know that you need to win and I need to win, now we need to go out there and do it. We talk about how Steph didn't have the help, but he pulled it out. And now that he did that, I don't know about Boston going to be able to just go in and get another game in Golden State because they were playing with house money before, and now they're in a dogfight. Now Golden State has life. And if Golden State wins game 5, they're going to go into game 6 with all the confidence in the world. So it could have been a short series for Celtics, but right now, I don't know. I think now, because we're talking about Klay hasn't had a really good game. And if Draymond Green ever have a 16-point, 12 rebound game, this series is over. So yes, it's the good defense is coming up, but I think they missed a big opportunity to put the stranglehold on this series, and they're going to pay for it.
Money Mike, is it the championship pedigree that's coming through right now?
Man, look, I'm loving it. I mean, that whole game I watched, it didn't matter what was going on. Curry put that team on their back. He said, look, I'm going to keep us in the game, and I just need a few. And Wiggins is coming in and making those key plays. But I know Wiggins could play better. I know Klay Thompson could play better. I don't know if Draymond can play better.
What about Poole?
Poole, I know Poole can play better. Gary Payton, I think he can play better. And he made a lot of key defensive stops and steals that impacted. I don't think the Celtics could play any better. So and I love that Kerr benched Draymond because I was tired of Draymond being out there because he was not being effective.
Offensively,
he wasn't being effective offensively. Defensively, he still was trying to get people and getting people ahead. I need him to play basketball. Stop trying to intimidate right now and play basketball. He still makes the smart plays as far as the passing and all that stuff. Don't shoot, get some rebounds, play some defense, Draymond. That's all I need from you.
Hey, Mike to my left. Is that exactly what we're talking about from Darvin Ham? Is the to bench Draymond when he's not playing that well and he's one of your stars? That's exactly
whatever
what you're
that
looking
you need.
for, right?
Yeah, whatever you feel that's going to get the best out of players for them to produce the best. If benching a guy and making them sit on the pine and making them realize, holy crap, he just benched me, I'm not playing right now. If that's what it takes to get the best out of a player, then the coach needs to do it. He has the power to do it. Then there can't be any politics there. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to leave him in because I love the guy. We've been through so much. You have to be able to put that aside and do what's best for the team.
Sports are what have you done for me lately, not what you did for me before.
And I think with Draymond, I don't know why he's still doing this podcast. I think that's number one. Like, no matter what, like, you look how the what you guys do for this podcast, all the prep, the setup, everything. Granted, he has people helping him out with that stuff.
Doesn't matter. It's still on your mind.
It's still on your mind. The game. Yeah, maybe he's telling people like that's number one, all I'm thinking about right now. But is it really when you're performing like that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even like him beefing with Barkley, even though it's funny as hell.
Yeah. So yeah, I think with this series, I think it's really going to come down to can the Warriors, can they dig deep within themselves to finish it off?
Yes. In sits.
But at the same time, we haven't seen Jason Tatum in this series.
Yeah, he hasn't played well.
Yeah, but I don't think that's really going to matter. If we get Wiggins to step it up a notch and then Klay to be about 75% of what he is, we win. I mean, the Warriors win.
Yeah.
I don't think all of a sudden Klay is going to become 75% of what he is this year.
What's that?
You think Klay?
Do you think Klay is going to be important? He hit some timely shots in the last game, but in no way was he.
But if you look at Klay's misses, if you really looked at those misses, those were not like a person that damn he ain't got it no more. Like those were going down and coming out. Like they were in. Those were good looks, and he was just missing shots. That guy is so combustible that I can't even if he missed. That's why he's shooting so much because he knows if he's a guy that can get 30 points in a quarter. And remember, he's the only took 6 dribbles guy. That guy. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to get his points if he's on. If that happens, it's a wrap, and we know that. The thing about Draymond Green, I think Draymond is his. We talk about legacy, and we throw that word around a lot, especially when it comes to LeBron, comes to Steph, comes to teams in general. When it comes to Draymond in general, and the fact that he had this bravado and were able to talk to the legends as if these legends were not 10 times the player he was after this final performance, bruh, not gonna be able to talk to Barkley like that. You can't be doing that. Can't do that anymore. You see what I'm saying? You can't talk that and then have a performance you're having right now when you score 2 points, 3 4 rebounds and 3 assists.
Mhm.
You can't do that and talk to Barkley like
I think fouled out
because he
in
ain't
the
got no
first
rings
3
like
games,
you
right?
on his level.
Mhm.
If Barkley was on that team, it would be a sweep, straight up. So we know that. So we know what kind of player he is. So Draymond, to me, I'm looking at him like, bro, I don't think you can talk like that no more, man. Your podcast is good, but it's not the same podcast anymore, as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's
I
just not.
love it. I love it. I love it when things come around with the loud players that aren't all-star or just top 5 player in the league currently, and they talk so much smack, the Patrick Beverleys and such.
Yeah.
Those guys really just piss me off. But
Yeah.
and Draymond's right in there. He is. You put him on any other team and he disappears into nowhere. Any other team,
he's a system guy.
put him anywhere. Any other team, put him on the Lakers, he's gone. He disappears. Any other team, he's gone. So he's just lucky by a matter of circumstance, and he just needs to kind of sit there and be thankful.
He definitely is a system player. Like he worked in the system of the Warriors because they had great shooters, and everybody know that Curry is a liability on defense. And he was able to pick up the slack on that along with Iggy and JaVale McGee.
Mhm.
And now, Iggy's hurt and JaVale McGee, and they have no big man now. And this dude
Looney
is literally, well, they have Looney, yes, but he's getting, I think he's getting
exposed a little bit.
By a lot of stuff because he's just not. And then like that dude is shooting 3-pointers like I shoot 3-pointers, and none of mine go in. So but I think mine actually hit the back of the rim sometimes.
Or at least the backboard too. At least the backboard. Yeah. He hasn't shot very well. He hasn't played very well, but he hasn't down at all. That's for sure.
I mean, he's not. Every once in a while, like 3 years ago, if Draymond got the ball, it was like. It might go in. Like it ain't going in now. No. It's not.
All right, we're going to move on really quick, guys. There's other news within the professional basketball world, and this would be coming out of the WNBA and our Los Angeles Sparks. Guys, our boy Derek Fisher has been fired.
Hey,
president, coach, it's all gone. Candace Parker is sitting there going, damn, I would have stayed if you did this last year.
Real.
What do you think about that step, Pat?
Rightfully so. I mean, we know about Derek Fisher, the player. We love Derek Fisher, the player. Derek Fisher, after playing basketball when the Lakers have made a whole bunch of blunders. I'm not even gonna go into his personal life. That's that was. But him coaching the Knicks and him coaching the Sparks, he's just not a good coach. He's just not a good coach, and it shows where you can't be at that authoritative and not have any results with your game plan. That's what's problem with he was trying to be authoritative and trying to be hard nosed, and literally all he did was just drive players away. So once Candace Parker left, it was a red flag at that point, and she should have never left the building. That's like letting Kobe leave. Like, there's no way she should left.
And to have her go off and win.
Yeah.
And win a championship. Like,
yeah.
Are you serious? It's almost like when Shaq did that with Miami. Like, you're like, ugh. Like, like, are you serious?
Hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. So, yeah, he had to go.
Money.
Look, the fact that you said, a year prior that Candace Parker was washed up and done, and she went off the team and got a championship, definitely means that he has to go. The fact that they got Liz Cambridge, my apologies,
and she's underperforming.
And she's underperforming. She was supposed to be like, the new one coming in town and the savior, and they were like 0-3 or 0-4 in the beginning. They're 5-7 right now. I mean, and they're losing by like 20. I mean, it's ugly. They're convincing. These are convincing losses. Like they never really were in the game. I went and saw Cambridge play, and I was very, very not impressed. I mean, she wasn't getting down the floor. She wasn't getting rebounds. She's not very athletic. Is that her not being, or is that
Coaching.
Derek Fisher not coaching, pushing her to be? I think I think the culture of the Sparks, though, as a whole, was affected by Derek, and I'm happy that he's gone, so that way they could start something new.
Mike, have you do you watch the Sparks at all? Do you get a chance to keep up with them?
Well, yeah, I'm not really too much into the WNBA, but like we said with Draymond, it circles around. Like you said, Draymond's a system guy, right? And what you see is a lot of times with these coaches like Derek Fisher, like what we saw with Luke Walton when he was the Lakers coach. Maybe sometimes these guys are system guys that were excellent in these systems. Like Derek Fisher was, excellent in the triangle system, right? When he tried to bring it to New York with the Knicks, it didn't fit well, with these younger guys. So now he's trying to bring it with the Sparks. It didn't fit well with these younger
Even when he
generation
left
ladies.
and played with Golden State and Utah.
Right.
He wasn't as good.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, with Luke Walton, when he was the Lakers coach, he was great within that system of the triangle with Phil Jackson. Then when he went to Golden State, was assistant over there, was great within, assistant coach. But that was that system. When they try to bring it trying to make it fit into other, places, sometimes it's just trying to, put a square into a round hole. It's not going to fit. And with these, like we saw with Derek Fisher, sometimes I think, not that these guys don't know basketball, because of course they know basketball. They know it better than mostly anybody, but coaching at that level may not have been the best fit for him. I think sometimes what you need to see is, yes, maybe like you were a professional athlete, but that doesn't mean you are fit to coach a professional team. No,
that's for sure. Not all players could be coaches, and definitely not all players can be GMs. There's no question about that. That we've seen time and time again.
Right.
No question.
Yeah. So if he started, like if Derek Fisher started, coaching, like a smaller college team, then when, coached UCLA or any other collegiate team, that would give him the experience he needed, to coach at the professional level, because it's different playing. Rather into coaching. It's two completely different career paths. And,
argue with that.
So, I think what you're seeing right now is Derek Fisher was a great player in that system, and we love him for it, but it's totally another ball game when you're trying to coach at a professional team. And it's also generational too. Like you're not going to, sometimes just like it's when you work with coworkers, when you're working with different people, you're not going to get along with everybody.
No, never.
So generational, people, they clash. So trying to, teach what you've learned over the years to younger people. Sometimes they may not be able to listening to it, and it just causes
They close
their
ears. Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, if you watch the show like we know you do, then you all know that we like to finish the show with a segment we call Money Mike's Out of Bounds. Money Mike over here, he's going to share his thoughts or opinions on a topic, and it's simple. He just wants to know, are his thoughts, opinions, are they in bounds or out of bounds? Money Mike, you got the mic.
So look, this is not out of bounds. This is actually a public service announcement. Okay. Y'all go agree. I know I'm going to have 100%. This is a public service announcement. I'm going to do this a shout out to Fredo.
Okay.
Right. And the reason why I said I'm going to talk about this on my show, because after the Warriors won, I went to Wingstop. And when I went to Wingstop, they were talking about the game. And the guy said that he was a Laker fan and he was rooting for the Celtics. And I went off. I said, you are not a true Laker fan if you ever root for the Celtics. We discussed it earlier. So I'm making a public announcement to everybody, and I want you guys to go and make my point more valid. If you at any time decide that you want to root for the Celtics for any reason at all, there is no valid reason for you to root for the Celtics if you claim to be a Laker fan. So I'm telling you guys right now, this is on me. And where the camera at, I want to make sure I look it straight. If you root for the Celtics, you are not a Laker fan.
in any manner.
In any way.
All right, let's start with our guest here. Mike Andrade. Is Money Mike inbounds or is he out of bounds?
He's 100% inbounds. As a Laker fan, you bleed purple and gold, and the one thing you don't do is you don't own any green except for your money.
Right.
You don't root for Boston under any circumstances.
That's
right. Now the finals are going on. I want to call the Lakers. I'm sorry. I want to call the Warriors Lakers North.
Right.
So you're rooting for the Warriors to win, not only because they're playing Boston, but it's California. Okay. So it's a West versus East thing, but especially you want to root for the Warriors because they're playing Boston. You do not want to see Boston win under any circumstances. One, because it's the rivalry, but we're tied with Boston, 17 championships all. So if they win, they have those bragging rights again. We don't want to see that. No.
Stat Pat, inbounds or out of bounds?
100% inbounds, man. He's not saying anything but facts. Like I told you earlier in the segment, when it comes to now, you have a lot of Laker fans right now are LeBron fans first, and then Laker fans second. The only reason why they're going for the Celtics is because they don't want to see Steph Curry win. I don't give a damn about Steph Curry winning. I really don't give a damn. Like, I can invalidate a lot of shit that he does and make him not be the GOAT. Like, so to me, his legacy is not messing with it. The problem is he's so closely tied to LeBron, that's a problem for LeBron. It's almost like, yeah, LeBron is Superman, but then there's like Steph is like Lex Luthor. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's the guy. He's the floor and flying the ointment.
So these are the LeBron fans, not really the Laker fans.
No, that's it. Because that guy that Mike was talking to is not a true Laker fan. You have too many. If you was on this planet in 2008, you should have been already indoctrinated. You should have been already got it back. If you were a Laker fan from back in the day and you didn't know what it was to hate the Celtics, well, 2008, 2010 gave you a reminder of how it feels like to hate the Celtics. So that's only been 12 years ago. So if you don't know what it is to hate the Celtics, then obviously you haven't been around long enough to call yourself a real, true Laker fan. So, yes.
Stat, I'd like to ask you a question really quick, and then we're going to get out of here. But we'll finish with this really quick. Do you believe Tatum has anything to do with that?
You shouldn't.
No, I don't think so. I don't think, and it's like it's almost as slick. It's almost him being slick. And I hate to be that guy. I like the homage he's doing. I love it. I think it's cool. But he's not getting the smoke that he's supposed to get.
Yep.
Being a Celtic fan because he's paying too much homage to Kobe. It's almost got us like, oh shit, like he's got Kobe. Oh damn, like we don't even know how to handle that. It's like we never dealt with this before. How do we have a Celtics really care about a Laker? Like that don't matter. Like that, like no. That's what I'm thinking. He's doing that not because he's doing it because he's doing it for something else. It's not subconscious. It's almost like remember when Rondo used to wear the headbands, and remember he was wearing them backward. He was wearing them upside down. He was doing that junk on purpose because he was dissing Jerry West. He was dissing the logo. That's that kind of pettiness I need. I need that. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about when it comes to our rivalry. He understood the assignment. I need everybody else to go ahead and get on board. And yes, Jason Tatum, nah, bro. I still see. I don't want you to win at all. I don't give a damn if you love Kobe. I don't give a damn. You can't win a championship, bro, unless you come to Lakers.
Money Mike.
Pat, I don't know about you, but I did not admit Larry Bird was good until he retired.
Yeah.
Never would admit it. When he retired, I said, oh, he was a bad boy. But while he was there, never admit it.
Well, he can hurt you. All right, everybody. This was great. Mike Andrade, thank you so much for joining us. We've been, like I said, we've been waiting to do this for a long time. We're glad to finally get you back in the studio. We'll have you again soon.
Appreciate it.
That's for sure. Stat Pat, thanks for joining us from your quarantine. And looks like a camper, so it looks like you're stuck somewhere having fun.
Well, shit, I'm just in Dockweiler, man. It ain't that damn fun.
All right, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for making the trip. Money Mike, thank you, my friend.
No problem, man. We out. Hey, go Warriors. you know, we gonna get this assist. I'm gonna get my money from Fredo.
You better do it. You better do it. Thank you, Dwan. Thank you, everybody who posted today. We have Tracy Sims. We had Christine O'Connell. We had our boy Fredo on there. Thank you so much. Fredo says Celtics in 6. We'll see. We'll know very, very soon. We'll see. He says he's a Laker fan. We'll see. We'll see. All right, everybody. Thank you. We will see you next week, as always, every Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific. We'll be there. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.
Let's go Lakers.
Lakers go.